Hi everybody, this is On Air, my Beatles collection. Today I'm going to go through some oddball vinyl, some kind of strange pieces that you may have never seen and maybe a few that you have, but some bootlegs, all of them unofficial in one form or another. First one I'm going to show you is the Beales. Here's the Beales. This is the White Album on the Liming, L-I-M-I-N-G, Liming record label. Liming number 2237 and 2238. This is basically disc 1 and disc 2 of the White Album. You can see there's lyrics on the back in extremely small print. Anyway, but they have the Beatles spelled wrong. It says the Beales. And it's in a very thin, sort of a paper sleeve with a light plastic, not a typical shrink wrap, but a light plastic over that. And then here's a look at the record. So it all looks very official. I doubt very much if it's licensed, and it's just an odd configuration. Here's the second one. See there's some Chinese print at the bottom. I believe I've tracked these down to Taiwan, but I'm not exactly sure. I've seen some others available for sale, and they list Taiwan as the origin country. And side one, the track sequence is exactly the same as it is on the White Album. There are no additional pictures, posters, or anything like that. Just the two Beales albums. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you. The second thing is this. I don't know if bootleg is the right word. Counterfeit's not the right word either. I guess pirate might be the right word. The original greatest hits. There's no reference to the Beatles on here. The label is Greatest Records, Inc. Greatest Records, Inc. There's the track listing. And this came out in 1964. And interestingly enough, this is actually the Beatles. There's no reference to the Beatles on here. So they didn't have to deal with any visual copyrights, if you will. But of course in 64, everybody, when they saw the wigs, they knew it was either actually the Beatles or they thought it was some sound-alike, look-alike, Beatles with an E instead of an A. There was all kinds of what I call exploitation albums. This is legit, and this is the Beatles. So if you, I don't know what name you want to give it. If you want to call it a bootleg, I'm okay happy with that. I'm happy. The bootleg people, bootleg police, often come out and want to make sure we understand the difference between a pirate and a counterfeit. This is not imitating something else, so it's not a counterfeit. I guess it's a pirate because this is previously released material, which usually a bootleg, by definition, is not previously released material. And so this basically is a needle drop from actual Beatles records. So a couple of years later, there was this, which is exactly the same content, except they added, you see the banner there. That, by the way, that's not a sticker. It's, it just looks like one, but they added Strawberry Fields Forever to the track list. I guess they must have deleted something too. Let's see, what did they delete? They deleted, well, I'm looking at them side by side. There were 12 songs on the original. There are 12 songs on here. Something's missing. They took off From Me to You. Fifth song on side one on that first one was From Me to You. And I do not see... Oh, wait a minute. I do see From Me to You. So I'm wrong. But let's keep going. We got Twist and Shout. We got I Want to Hold Your Hand. We got All My Lovin'. Please Please Me. From Me to You. Love Me Do. Can't Buy Me Love. Roll Over Beethoven. Please Mr. Postman. I'll Get You. I got it. She Loves You. The last song on side two is not on this one. I should take that out of the plastic so you don't have so much glare. Yeah. So that's it outside the plastic. Now this one credits the label Suta. S-U-T-A. And it says it's high fidelity. And let me show you what that label looks like. But otherwise it's the same album and it's the same recordings. So they added one and they dropped one. And here is side one. Now you can see that's a completely different label. I believe this one came out in 67. 67 or 68 possibly. And apparently Wendy owned it because she put her name on it. Unlike the first one, which was originally owned by Thomas, who left his name up on the top. Of course, I got him in collector circles, so don't ask me who Wendy or Thomas are. And I don't really play those. You know, if I want to hear those songs, I can play them on about 100 other official sources, mono, stereo, whatever. But they are kind of good collector pieces because they, as I said, they don't reference the Beatles. They just copy the Beatles songs, and they are really the Beatles. This one actually does credit the Beatles, which I'll have to take back what I said. The first one doesn't. It just shows the wigs. This actually, I guess you know, it shows the faces and the name here, so they got bold with that second time around. Here's another album that has been in my collection for a long time. This was one of the first bootlegs I ever got. It's called Buried Treasure. I actually had this framed for a long time until I ran out of wall space and I started to take some things down, kind of rotate the inventory, and put some newer stuff up. But and of course it's got some printed, print autographs, not real. Obviously this wasn't autographed. But this is stuff that was really early stuff. Some of it from TV, some of it from demos, some of it from Hamburg, some of it from BBC. And it says on the bottom, produced and arranged by Carol and Monica, whoever they are. I always got a laugh out of that. And then it says manufactured by Wonderland Records in Manila, the Philippines. So you can't believe any of this stuff usually. People use these, foreign references to throw, the law off their tracks. But anyway, so if you take a look at this, you'll see there's some pretty interesting stuff on here. If you want to pause the screen so you can see that and read it, and then I'll move it over so you can see the rest. And then I'll just kind of go through it quickly. So Soldier of Love, it says this was an outtake played to Ed Sullivan by transatlantic phone call. I guess to make him feel good about the fact that he had just booked the Beatles. I Got a Woman, and this is it says a John Lennon outtake played on WABC radio in New York at a slower speed and poor quality, originally thought to be Ringo. Then it says Kansas City from London, 10/9/1964, and that was for Shindig, the TV show, the American TV show Shindig. And then there's one recorded at the Cavern Club in '62, and that's some other guy. That's appeared in other places, but and then there's Lend Me Your Comb from Radio Luxembourg, and there's Carol, Lucille, Hippie Hippie Shake, and those three are all from the BBC in 1963. And then there's Shout, which is, I always thought was a song that they should record officially with George Martin and release officially. So Shout, that's from Around the Beatles on the radio in 1964. And then Memphis from Saturday Club in 63. And that's side one. Side two is Johnny Be Good from Saturday Club. And then Slow Down, Ain't Nothing Shaking But the Leaves on the Trees. I'm Gonna Sit Right Down and Cry. And those are all from the BBC, also in 1963. And then there's Honey Don't, with John singing the lead. And this is 1963. And then Rock and Roll Music from 1966. I'm not sure what the source is for that. And then Dizzy Miss Lizzy from 1964, and that's a BBC track. So that's the end of side two, so end of disc one. Disc two starts with the Mary the K fan club messages, and that's about 15 minutes long, and that consists of Beatles interviews in Miami and in England, and then some live show segments and so on. And that particular, I have that actual 45 from the Mary the K fan club, and that was the first time I actually heard a snippet of the Beatles doing the song Shout. And so again, it's on here, but the full version of Shout is on side one on disc one. And then continuing on side three or side one of disc two is after Mary the K, there's I Saw Her Standing There and You Can't Do That. And then side four is called More Beatlemania Live. And that's All My Lovin', She Loves You, Till There Was You, Roll Over Beethoven, Can't Buy Me Love, This Boy, Long Tall Sally. And this is all a portion of their Melbourne, Australia concert on July 16th, 1964. So, as I said, one of my favorite early bootlegs. The first time I played this for friends, they couldn't believe it was the Beatles. They had never heard any of the BBC stuff at that point, and most of us had not either. But just to hear one song after another, with the Beatles playing it and never having heard them before, never maybe even heard of that song, never mind the Beatles singing that song. It was a great record to have, and it was kind of show-offy because my friends were amused and amazed, as I like to say. The label they used for that doesn't have much print on it. It just says Berkeley Records, and this is side one and side two, of course. Now, of course, on the jacket, it doesn't. I don't think it says Berkeley anywhere on the outside jacket. It just says Wonderland Records on the jacket. It says Berkeley on the label, and of course, we have to thank Carol and Monica for producing and arranging. So whatever that means. And there's two discs. I won't show you the second one. And then the final thing I want to show you for today. I mean, I've got a million things I could show you, but I would ask you for way too much of your time if I did that. But another one of my favorites, and I also used to have this one framed, and I'll show you this. This is Johnny and the Moondogs, Silver Days. And this little gold sticker says Airtime, featuring 17 unreleased classic tracks from master tapes. I'll try to give you a close-up of that. See, let me go in front of the microphone. Maybe get a little closer. And then on the back, there's another sticker, which is sideways. I guess that's intentional, but I'll straighten it out so you can read it. Again, you might want to pause that so you can read it yourself. But this has I Saw Her Standing There, From Me to You, Money, Roll Over Beethoven, You Really Got a Hold on Me, She Loves You, Twist and Shout, Nothing Shaking But the Leaves on the Trees, Lonesome Tears in My Eyes, So How Come No One Loves Me. That's all side one. And the various sources are the Beatles live in Stockholm is the first. is the first 8 of the 10 songs. And the next 3, Nothing Shaking, the first 7. The number 8, 9, and 10 were all, they just say recorded in England July 10th, 1963. I don't have my Beatles daily calendar with me, so I don't know where they were on July 10th in 63. But that's when they recorded those 3. And then you get to side 2, and you got Please Mr. Postman, Crying, Waiting, Hoping. Those were both recorded in July also of 63, somewhere in England. And then you got Ticket to Ride, recorded May 26, 65. Rock and Roll Music, November 25th, 64. And then Kansas City, Hey, 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 in February of 64. This Boy, February of 64. Can't Buy Me Love, February of 64. Because it's airtime, I believe that all of those are live on the radio. They're probably all BBC. I don't actually recall. I just remember this one was much like the Buried Treasure album in its time. It looked cool. It has the old picture with Pete Best. It has the really not even true Johnny and the Moondogs band name, Silver Days. It just, everything about it seemed different and seemed original. This is on the Warwick label. It says up there. Clearly a bootleg, a nice cover. This is actually a sticker, this green thing, and this is actually a sticker. This one on the back. It's like I said, it says Warwick on the outside, but you look at the record itself, and the record itself says Subway. So go figure. Classic maze for bootleggers. It says Subway Records, a division of Crown Music, Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's what it says on the label if you look really close. So, I don't know why the cover doesn't match the record. This is the case a lot of times with bootlegs because they can get stuff printed on a cover that they can't necessarily get pressed on vinyl if it's identified. So a lot of times on bootlegs, the vinyl doesn't give you any clue about what it is. So I imagine some person working at the pressing plant just, banging these things out one after another and not really knowing what they're doing. There's nothing on the label that indicates it's a bootleg. There's nothing on the label that indicates it's anybody. It doesn't have any kind of an artist name, not even a fake one. So I guess, that's true on a lot of bootlegs. But yet you get a cover that's got a picture of the Beatles on it. So I assume the cover was made in one place, the record was played in another place, and they don't even use the same label credit. I don't know what this Warwick reference is versus Subway. So anyway, those are a few bootlegs that I thought were interesting and I wanted to show you today. And I'll probably be back tomorrow with some other goodies. So that's it for now. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you have any comments, I'd be happy to read your comments. I try to get to all of them, and I try to respond to them as well. And certainly, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. We're trying to grow the channel, and so far, we're getting some traction, and we're getting a lot of views, and picking up some subscribers. So please be one of them if you're not. And I'll see you next time. So thanks for stopping by. Bye.